It's a long time.
First question, back right, fifth row.
Kelly Hico, The Athletic. Alex, it seems to me like you are the hybrid player in terms of being small enough to be able to hang with other guards defensively, but also being aggressive enough to, attack the passing lanes and on the offensive side, be able to, if you want to slip a screen or attack the paint. Why do you think that works so well in the system with you and Mark?
Yeah, I think just through my career, I figured out that I can do stuff that's not necessarily sexy or not necessarily like the mainstream, offensive skill set or even defensive skill set that people recognize. And I kind of just leaned into it. I kind of practiced being great at the stuff that nobody else does and carving a role for myself in the league. And I think through the years, I've just kind of perfected that stuff.
Tim, all the way in the back.
Alex, Tim Reynolds with the AP. When Isaiah was in here, he revealed that there was some difficulty getting the corks out of the bottles and that you had to do some educating.
Yeah.
Is there any more of a better indicator of how young of a team this really is?
Yeah, and we didn't do it all at the same time until like the third try. I tried my best when we got in there. I was like, all right, let's get a head count. Like, let's make sure everyone's here before we do the first one. And through the learning experience of taking the foil off, undoing the metal, and having the cork ready, there's like 3 or 4 guys that popped their corks, and then it happened again, and we were like, all right, look at Flag's baby. Look at Flag's baby in the back. We went through the process a couple of times, and eventually we got everybody on the same page. But yeah, it was a good first try. We'll get some rest, reset, try to go again next year, and see if we can do it again, and we'll be better. We'll be better next year.
A real question as well, if you don't mind. A championship is a championship, but there were 70 people in the gym when you won your first one.
Yeah.
How much better?
Probably like 150, but
maybe 100, maybe even 200. But
maybe.
How much better does this one feel?
Yeah, now I got a real one. Now nobody can say anything. Yeah, I think just because of the way the team is constructed now versus the team I had in 2020, like it was much harder with this team just because of the experience, right? And everybody talked about you need experience to win a championship, and you need this, that, and the other. And I said multiple times through the postseason with this team that the good basketball is good basketball. Winning basketball is winning basketball. And the best team can win no matter what happens if you go out there and execute and do the stuff that you need to do to win the game. And I think through the playoffs, this team grew up and learned on the fly, which most teams have to learn through losses and learn through defeat. And I think this team learned through success. And it's a unique capability to be able to do that for, 21 to 27-year-old kids. And for me, I've seen greats do it, so I knew the way, I knew the mindset. But to see these guys do it, man, it's really cool to see it in person, and I'm so happy for the guys just to be able to figure it out and to be able to get this done.
Howard on the left.
Howard Beck from The Ringer. Alex, you mentioned being part of one of these before with a veteran team. This is a much younger team, and you also have seen how hard it is
slightly.
To keep a team together and try to make a run. Is it, I know it's just still in the moment, but is it tempting to think about, given the youth and all the development that could still happen here, of how much more could be ahead of this team, how much more success?
Yeah, I mean, at this moment right now, I'm not thinking about much. I'm thinking about succeeding and winning and celebrating with my brothers. But, yeah, I mean, you're not guaranteed anything in the league, and I think that's the biggest thing that happens year to year that people forget about. You have any moment your team can change with a trade, with an injury, with something that's out of your control. To be able to get to the pinnacle of the sport and win it is, nothing short of extraordinary. And to think that you can just walk in and do it every single year is a little bit naive. But be rest assured, we'll show up day one next year ready to get better and ready to chase this again.
Again on the left.
Whenever you won in 20, LeBron was the leader of the team and arguably the leader of the NBA at that point. Just talking about Shea and his leadership of this team, Can you just talk about, his potential of being someone like a LeBron James that not only could be the leader of a team, a championship team, but eventually the leader of the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, comparing to LeBron is a crazy start just because LeBron was anointed at 18 years old and surpassed everything that has ever been put in front of him. But as far as, like face of the league and best player on best team, he's got that capability. I mean, clearly the year he's had, MVP, Western Conference Finals MVP, Finals MVP, champion. I don't think anybody in here would question his ability, and I think the thing that sets him apart is he'll probably be hungry for more. He probably won't be satisfied with just winning this one time. He'll want to do it again. He'll want to be better. He'll want to see how he can tweak and maneuver his game to better fit and take advantage of the way people guard him. And that's just a special ability that he has mentally to be competitive and want to be great.
Jenny?
Alex, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Mark might be one of the most even-keeled people on the planet. Even
Did he
after,
smile tonight when he came and talked to y'all?
We haven't seen him yet.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you a report later.
Please do.
But very low-key. Did you see him crack at all? Emotions and all of this? Or did he maintain? And what does that sort of just say about his imprint on this team?
No, I mean, he's, he won Coach of the Year, was it last year, I think? And arguably could have been again this year, but, that's like a year in, year. They don't give that back-to-back to coaches. That's not a thing. Man, his ability to collaborate with his assistants and then come together and have a clear, concise message for us is second to none. He does a great job of pushing buttons when he needs to push buttons. He does a great job of figuring out solutions to problems. And then he does a great job of holding people accountable, which is a huge thing in the NBA. Because, we talked about Shazier, he's MVP, he's Finals MVP, all that stuff. And he told him how he needed to play better after Game 6, and he was really sticky, and he needed to move the ball. And Shea had, 12, 13 assists, probably a season high for him. And on top of doing all the stuff that he normally does. And I think that's one of the unique things that Mark brings to, the coaching aspect is just his ability to not really care about quota, his what the status quo is. He's going to coach how he knows to coach, and it's the same way that he coached me when I was on the G League 9 years ago, and that's probably the reason that he's had as success as he has, is he's been true to himself.
Barry, straight ahead.
Tulsa World, you guys played a pretty good defensive first half. You start the second half. Indiana goes 4.5 minutes without scoring. Seemed really out of sorts.
To start the third?
To start the third quarter, yeah. What did you guys do to start that second half that really turned up the defensive pressure?
Yeah, I mean, the game just came down to winning coverages and then winning closeouts. I think in the beginning of the game, we did a really good job of closing out to their guys and taking away shots, but then also winning drives, and then got a little loose late first, early second. And then to start the third, we kind of knew what it was. We held them to 48, and Nimhard hit a 30-foot step back at the half. So you can't be too mad and too upset about defensive intensity and execution in the first half. We knew that it was probably going to be more offensive stuff that was going to open the game up for us. But even saying that, our defensive mindset and just execution, start of the third and then start of the fourth. They were at 68 for a long time, start of the fourth, which gave us that separation, which we've talked about in this series, that they're going to make runs. They're a good team. They don't give up. They play with heart, and they made a run. But we had to score at 20 instead of 10, and so then it wasn't a 1-2 point game. It was still a 10, 11, 12 point game, and I think that's really what gave us that window to win the game.
Last two questions in the center and on the right.
Valencia King, Real Talk Sports. Alex, you mentioned a few games ago not to congratulate you earlier, so officially congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Of course. My question is, we talked to you a lot about your veteranship on this team, but I'm curious, as a veteran, what have you learned throughout this journey from the young guys, whether it's new music, new dance moves, even non-basketball related?
Yeah, no, I'm still pretty in tune with the music. They make TikToks, and I've abstained from that. I might get roped into one of those in the coming days just because of happenstance. But this group has like a, I talked about it up on the stage after the game. They have a joy about them. They have a unique maturity that comes with, a lack of experience that's rare. And I think just being able to show up and everybody accepts everybody for who they are and able to be themselves and really impact the game and impact the team with who they are naturally, it goes a long way. And I think it really helped us through the year and then obviously through the playoffs.
Last question, second row on the right.
Hi, Alex. Leandro Sarhan, ESPN Brazil. A lot of us talked about the full circle moment of you playing the G League for the Thunder and now you're a champion for the team. How much more special does that feel for you?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't something that I take for granted. Like multiple times, like after we won, like I'm bouncing, I'm jumping up and down with joy, and it's something that winning a championship is so hard at any level, and especially at the NBA level, because it takes so much. It takes so many different people doing their jobs at a high level, and I'm a very present person, so it's hard sometimes to understand and think back to like, man, I was in the G League and like I wasn't even in the NBA, and I had to go to Summer League and I had to go to G League elite camps. I had to go to Portsmouth. I had to do all these things just to get, the invitation to get to an NBA team, and then from there I had more work to do, and then from there I had to work for a second contract, and the second contract I had to work to get to a team like this to be a capable winner and champion winner. So it's something that like I said, I don't take for granted, but immense pride. It's something that I'll celebrate with my family and my fiance and my close friends, my agent, like people that have been there with me through the journey, that have seen me through the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Just people that have really supported me from the start.
Thank you, Alex.
Congratulating Indiana on a great run and a great season. I have such respect for the way they play, the way they're coached. Prayers to Halliburton, obviously. That was incredibly unfortunate, but I just gained so much respect for them. In the intimacy of a playoff series, you really get to know your opponent, and they are an absolute handful, gave us all we could handle, and I just wanted to congratulate them. And I also want to just take the time to congratulate the city, Mr. Bennett, Sam, the rest of our organization. I'm sure we'll talk about the players, but a group of people that really deserve this, and I'm humbled that I get to be a part of it, and a huge congratulations to all of them.
Jenny, first question.
Hey, Mark. Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. After you did your on-stage interview, I watched, and you migrated to the back and just stood and watched things happen. I'm wondering what was going through your mind in those moments.
I'm just so happy for the guys. I mean, this is an uncommon team. This is a great team. All the boxes that this team checked this season, it's a historic team. But there's no guarantee that you end it the way that we did. And so I just wanted it so bad for them. And I was just so thrilled that we were able to get that done, and they get to experience this because they deserve it. The way they approach it, the professionalism, competitiveness, team first nature. Like I said, I wanted it so bad for them.
Front right.
Justin Martinez with the Oklahoman. When you guys were getting presented with the trophy, Shea called Dub a once-in-a-lifetime player. Just what is it about Dub that makes him so special?
I mean, he's got a lot of runway still. He's a young player. He's in his third season, but just the versatility, all the boxes he checks. He's good at everything. There's nothing he can't do on a basketball court, and the cumulative effect of that is he impacts every game and is a great player that is still growing and still improving. But I'm just so impressed by him and what he can do on the court.
Back left.
Mark, whenever you made those hockey line changes at the end, you had an embrace with Alex Caruso. And have you thought about your journey with Alex at all, and kind of where you guys started in the G League and now being NBA champions?
Yeah, that was a time warp. That moment, Dort, he was out here guarding, 50 feet when it was COVID and there were no fans in the stands, and we were winning 20 games. And Shea, NAC, Dub. I mean, just history that we all have together and the work that we've put in together. We've hung in there together. We've stayed together, the whole team. But yeah, I can't describe it. It was a special moment for me.
Fred.
Mark, you guys had one of the quickest turnarounds in league history. You just mentioned, winning 20 games not that long ago, losing 60 plus, I think 2 consecutive seasons. What is it about the character of the organization, about the character of the team that allowed you guys to make such a leap so quickly in that time?
I've called the guys uncommon many times, but I really believe that. I mean, just the way they operate, the way they behave, the way they compete is uncommon in professional sports. It just is. And then I also think, the organization's been at it for a long time. And before this build, Mr. Bennett's been here from the jump. Sam's been here from the jump. And those two guys have built a first-class organization, the vision for that, and then the work that's gone into that. Really put the wind at our back when it was time to start, from scratch, really. And, so that was a huge thing. I mean, as young as the team was and as new as everything was, there was so many people from Saint to Donnie Strack to Ayanna to Matt Tumbleson that were in place. Sam, obviously, his group, that, the players were young, but the process and the systems and the environment were seasoned, and that gave us a huge lift. And you add the players we had to that, and that's how I think the speed happened. And good fortune. We got lucky in some ways.
Myron up front.
Myron Patton, OKC Sports Radio. You've had big third quarters before, but this is the finals. What was your conversation at halftime like? Because defensively, you guys really kind of came out really aggressive. They kept calling timeouts, but the avalanche was underway.
Yeah, I mean, you watch any Game 7 of the finals, any Game 7 period, but Game 7 of the finals, it's a different feeling. It's a different level of pressure. The gravity of the game is overwhelming for everybody participating. And I thought in the first half, you could see that, I think, certainly with us, but with both teams. And, the whole run, I've just tried to help the guys just be who they are. That's all we needed to do is just be who we are. And I thought the tone at the beginning of the second half with the offensive rebounds, and it set a great tone. And then the offense started to come around. The defense sustained. And obviously that was a huge, huge run for us.
Tim in the back center.
Tim Reynolds with the AP. Mark, I'm going to take a risk and ask you about your least favorite topic, which is yourself. A lot of people have coached this game, and only 8% of them have won a championship. What will this mean to you? What will it mean as far as your journey and the fact that you probably proved a lot of people right and a lot of people wrong along the way? But what will this one mean?
I'm incredibly grateful. Grateful to Sam and Mr. Bennett for the opportunity. Grateful to the players, and I just feel such a sense of responsibility when you have a team like this. Everyone says, the team's hard to coach, and usually that has a negative connotation. But when you have a team that's this talented, this committed, this professional, this competitive, this willing to sacrifice, that's the ultimate pressure on a coach, because you want to serve that, and they deserve that. And that's what gives me the most pride right now, is that I feel like I was able to do that for them because they deserved all of this. So that's really what I'm feeling right now.
Second row on the right.
Guilherme Sacco from ESPN Brazil. Coach, congratulations on the title.
Thank you.
I know that you didn't have the time to reflect about it, but you guys just went through one of the best final series ever, like in terms of basketball play. You are one of the brightest minds of basketball right now in the world. How did you see the whole series, like the level of basketball that you played, that Indiana played? How did you see the series going on?
I mean, I think it was great for the league and the product, for two small market teams that have never won a championship to have the type of series that we did. It was hard to appreciate that because it was just so hard in the moment. But one thing I learned is, you don't really. It's hard to get to your ceiling as a team in the playoffs when you're playing great teams over and over again. It's really about how high your floor is. And I thought was the mark of our team. I mean, you have to really grind it out, and it's an endurance race. And you have to you have to be able to win in the mud. You have to be able to win ugly. You have to be able to gut it out. And that's what we did. You know, the team did an unbelievable job of that.
Valencia.
Valencia King, Real Talk Sports. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank
I'm going
you.
to circle back to a phrase I mentioned to you a few series ago. Be where your feet are. Both Shea and J-Dub said that. In 3 words, can you describe be where your feet are? How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the team did a great job of that. I mean, we lost a tough game in Game 6. You know, we went there to win. You know, like we really felt good about that game, and we did not perform well. And you're coming into Game 7, anything can happen. And you know, I thought the team did a great job of just staying present in the game, even when we're down 1 at halftime. The game was not easy for either team, and I just thought the guys did an unbelievable job of rooting into the moment, trying to win the next possession, just let the game unfold the way it does. And the guys have done a great job of that all year. They did a great job of it tonight.
Michael Martin, Let's Talk Thunder. Mark, over the course of your tenure, you've talked about being 0-0, give or take 1,000 times. I wanted to ask, after winning a championship, can you acknowledge that you're 1-0?
Yeah, I mean, those are you got to have those themes, you know. And this team responds well to those things. If you put the right thing in front of them, they really take to it. And you know, I think that's the right thing. It's the right way to approach competition. But these guys bring it to life, you know, with the way they play. I mean, you could talk about it all you want, but it comes down to how you perform. And these guys perform like competitive monsters.
Thank you, Coach.